gains for the Naira today. What's that due to?
Relatively, we saw a 26 basis points gain in the market today. Generally, feelers were from the trading floor is that demand and supply almost matched, so that's responsible for the modest gains. One had thought that with some of the news of the potential acquirers for some of the troubled banks coming out today, we could have seen a much more bullish market. But I guess many of the rumor was had been anticipated by the market. They had, in a sense, gotten which bank was going for which, and I guess that didn't come as a surprise. So I guess the market just remained relatively flat. But of course, positive sentiment from some other sectors.
Obviously, I mean, the governor says that we should wait in the next week to 2 weeks to get a sense of where the memoranda of understanding lie and what the valuations of those banks are. So as we wait and see, what are you expecting by way of trends in trading on the equity side?
I still expect that trading will be relatively subdued until a lot more information, like you've mentioned, filters into the market. As we have it now, like you know, we're into the corporate earnings season, so a lot of the performances are going to be driven by results, positive results in that sense, I would say. And until we begin to see a bit more information concerning the acquisition of those rescued banks, more than the market already knows, I think trading is going to be a little bit subdued at the moment.
All right, let me just ask you to just throw your hat in the ring just by way of the current debate as to whether the Naira should be devalued or whether or not we should continue to see interventions to just shore up the Naira. It's trading in the region of 153 today. It's been at 152 recently. Fair value for the Naira, do you think, going forward? What would that figure be?
Yes, we understand the IMF's position in seeking a devaluation of the Naira. The reasons are quite clear. But then again, the impact one needs to consider is how is it going to affect the overall Nigerian economy. If you're going to devalue the Naira at this point in time, I think it's going to have adverse effects on the economy, considering that we're coming out of a situation where our banks are just trying to get back into some level of stability, and economic activities which had been subdued due to the market downturn, and of course the overall credit squeeze, local credit squeeze that is in the industry, is just beginning to pick up. I think a devaluation of the Naira now would really hurt the Nigerian economy, considering when you look at other factors like inflation, which is feeding through, and of course global commodity prices, which in a sense is feeding through to the Nigerian economy. We're beginning to see consumer prices rise. A devaluation at this point would only just make it worse. We think, I mean, going by what the CBN announced lately, we saw a little bit of accretion in the excess crude reserves. That is a good development for the market. If oil prices remain strong and then our production levels remain steady, I think there might not be any immediate need to devalue the Naira at this point.
Let's talk about results. You mentioned earlier on that some are coming out, obviously. Let's talk about Nestle's results in particular within the fast-moving consumer goods sector. Both sales and after-tax profits up 21% and 28% respectively. Your view on Nestle?
Very strong performance coming out of Nestle. Again, it's one of the the blue chip stocks that the market really likes. Again, strong numbers coming out of there. What we had expected was that the company would perform in line with our forecast, which it did. And of course, but in the long term, when you begin to look at it, what value does Nestle hold for the market as a whole? We've seen Nestle, we've seen some recent investments. They just commissioned a new plant to say which is going to be producing, I think, 50% of their prime product, Maggi, which contributes about 55% to top line. From our discussions, findings with the company, they had done a market survey earlier and had found that a lot more opportunities hold for Maggi. So I guess that's the reason for the investment, of course, to support other lines of the businesses. But then, if we continue to see these sort of strong levels of numbers from Nestle, I think it pretty much justifies the currently high PE that we have for that stock at the moment. You know, it's currently trading over 22 times. Against a sector average that is much lower, somewhere around 16.
I was actually going to ask you about that in a final comment. Let's link these two issues up. The Nestle will be paying a dividend of about 10 Naira 60 kobo, which is a low yield of about 2.5% of a dividend yield. In your view, is it low? And then given this high price that you're talking about, is there a justification for a buy of Nestle?
Well, I'll just clarify one thing. The dividend we're seeing now is a final dividend. They had paid an interim dividend of 1 Naira 95 kobo. So there are some other gains if you look at it in terms of the total payout for Nestle. But then again, going back to that question, for us, we think at current price, if I remember very well, it closed at 458 Naira or thereabout today, or 453, if I'm sure. It's pretty much close to what we think, what our target value for Nestle is. Although there are growth opportunities ahead, I think the market has fully priced in a lot of these expectations. And the price continues to do well on the floor. You know, the Nigerian market is really excited by scrip issues, which Nestle did dish out a 1 for 5. I guess that's what has been sustaining the recent price movement. But of course, the dividend yield at a 2.5%, it came in quite disappointing, I would say, because the total dividend payout was exactly the same amount we saw last year. There was no increase at all.